My name is Aditya Rachi Gohil, and on the third day of our presentation, my topic is the Nightingale's paradox, morality, music, and meaning in the romantic poetry. Here is my academic details and the presentation details. This is the table of content which I will present today. And this is my research question that how does romantic poetry use the image of the nightingale to explore the tension between the human morality and the desire for artistic immortality? My hypothesis is in the romantic poetry, the nightingale shows the poet's wish to escape death through art. Its never ending songs stand for the idea that poetry can live on and make the poet's voice last forever. My introduction, the introduction of the poetry, that Ode to the Nightingale is one of the Keats' greatest poem, composed in the spring 1819. It's reflect a sharp spiritual crisis and deep emotional complexity. Keats composed it outside under a plum tree, listening to the nightingale song. The poem explores themes of mortality, transits, and poetic imagination. Two main images dominate the poem: a summer morning and the forest night. It is framed as a walking dream, balancing joy and sorrow. The poem was part of Keats' rapid development from youthful poet to the philosophical poet. Context and composition. Composed during a period of profound grief after Keats' brother Tom's death. When the brother of Keats dead, then the kids wrote this poem. Like Harivansh Rai Bachchanji wrote Meri Bimari Shama Ne Li. Her wife was dead because of she was caring Harivansh Rai Bachchanji's when he was ill, and he wrote Meri Bimari Shama Ne Li. And another poetry of his, uh, he wrote on the श्यामा that जो बीत गई सो बात गई जीवन में एक सितारा था मानो वो बेहद प्यारा था वह डूब गया सो डूब गया. It is a very wonderful poetry by the Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji. It was also betting fears of his own mortality due to illness. The poem captures his sorrow and yearning to escape pain, composed in few honors, in manifest Keats' emotional intensity. Keats' philosophical influence from the Wordsworth and the Coleridge is evident. The poem marks Keats' shift from aesthetic pleasure to the searching moral truth. His heightened state of mind is captured in the poem's vivid imagery. The two key images. The first key image is daytime, summer morning under a plum tree. Reality Keats experienced. Second imagination, nighttime, forest, viewed as a special world of a nightingale song. The poem transition clearly from the day images to the night images after the stanza 3. The forest night symbolizes the poetic imagination and escapism. A references to the queen moon, starry face, and the darkness signal the night image. The poem ends returning from the night to the dawn reality. It's a poignant final reflection. This dual imagery conveys the contrast between the human suffering and the nature's immortal song. Opening mood and sorrow, desire to escape. Begins with my heart aches and the rosy numbness pain. The poem contrasts his pain with the joyful, carefree nightingale. He desires to flee pain by either wine or poetry. The first three stanza dwell on painful self-awareness and longing to oblivion. The nightingale's happiness is inevitable but inspiring. Desire to fade away with the bird's stress escape from mortal woes. Original poem excerpt 1 that I have taken this excerpt from the original poem that my heart aches and the drowsy numbness pain. My senses through of hemlock I had drunk. Oh, for my drought or vintage that had been cooled a long age and deep dwelled earth. Fade far away, dissolve, and quite forget what thou among the leaves has never known. This line illustrates his pain, desire for forgetting, and longing for the night escape. The realm of imagination. After initial desire for wine, kids embrace poetry to escape. Imagines flying on the viewless wings of poesy. Nighttime forest become a symbolic realm of imagination. The poet discard physical sight, guided by sense of hearing and smell. The nightingale song is a timeless heard before by ancient cultures. Poetry offers a temporary transcendence for mortal weariness, the fear and the fret. These are other lines from the poetry. And theme of mortality and immortality. Poem contrasts human mortality with the bird screaming mortality. Nightingale's timeless song heard by emperor and the clown through the ages. Poetic philosophy and the beauty. Keats' famous dictum: "Beauty is a truth, and truth is a beauty." The poem emphasizes that experiencing beauty through the art and imagination. The poem structure and unity. The poem eight stanza from an coherent cyclical whole. 19th century theme reflected in his poem that reflected romantic concerns with the nature, imagination, and individual experiences. 19th century cultural context that in industrial revolution and social upheaval frame much of 19th century art. The legacy of Ode and Nightingale remains a central work in the Romantic poetry and English literature. My conclusion is the Romantic poetry uses the nightingale as a powerful symbol of the poet's struggle between the life's shortness and the dream of lasting through the art. The bird's endless song become a sign of hope, showing that even though human life must end, creativity and the poetry can keep the poet's spirit alive through the imagination of the nightingale. Romantic poets express their belief that art offer a kind of a immortality that time and death cannot destroy. These are my references. Thank you.
Aditya, my question is explain the working dream framework. It's a function in the poem's overall structure.
So, the working dream is a poem's a psychological framework which begins and ends in the state between reality and imagination. This structure frames the emotional journey from the pain of reality to the fleeting joy of imagination, imaginative escape, and back again.
Aditya Raj, my question is, what is the significance of repetition of the word forlorn within the poem's emotional arc?
Thank you, Sandeep. The repetition of the forlore serves as a trigger that recalls the poem's initial sorrowful mood. It effectively pulls the speaker back from his imaginative flight in the nightingale's word to the harshness of his own human experiences. Thank you.